Good morning. And I thought today we would focus a little bit more on the back body in our Pilates practice. So we'll start with our classic warm-up. We're going to use a few props today. I have 2 yoga blocks, but you can use a chair with no arms and no legs. And I have a blanket as well. Okay, so we'll focus on our back body today. Let's start down on the floor, knees bent, arms alongside the body, and we'll do pelvic rocks, low back presses, and low back arches, and low back presses, and low back arches, low back presses, and low back arches, low back press and stay. Pull the belly in and press the low back into the floor really strongly from the front body, from the belly pulling in from the front. Let's draw the knees into the chest, and we'll do alternate toe touches. One set of toes touch down to the floor, switching midair. So on this one, as simple as it might seem, I want you to really pull the belly in strongly and press the low back on the floor so our abs are connecting here. And meanwhile, I want you to relax the neck, jaw, and shoulder. So when I say relax the neck, I want you to relax the neck, jaw, and shoulder, all of them. Let's do a couple more like this, belly pulling in. Let's do 4, 3, 2, 1. Draw both knees into the chest, flex the feet, ankles squeeze together. Again, pulling strongly in from the front, lower the legs just a little bit, and then draw the knees back into the chest. Imagine you have a big brass cowboy belt buckle. That's the spot that I want you to pull in as you lower that little bit. So it's more work with the abs and just a little movement with the legs. It's not a big movement with the legs at all, but you're pulling in actively with those abs really strongly. Let's do 2 more like that. Belly pulling in, abs connect. Again, neck, jaw, and shoulders. Release. And let's do 1 foot down, other foot down. Ground the feet nice and solid underneath your knees. Bring your hands back to cradle the head, and let's find our upper body alignment. So inhale to start. On an exhale, we nod the head wants to curl the head, neck, and shoulder blades up off of the floor. I want you to keep a fist distance of space between the chin and the chest as you effort to reach the flat parts of your shoulder blades towards your thighs, like closing up a clamshell. And then I want you to come down. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, exhale, teeny head nod. Lengthens the muscles at the base of the skull. Reaching. And then come on back down. And let's do 1 more time. Here we go. Nod and curl. Curling up, reaching into your upper body alignment. The more you reach the flat parts of your shoulder blades towards your thighs, the closer your head will be toward your center of gravity without overdoing it on the neck, okay? And let's come on back down. Okay, good. So that's a good little connection there. Let's go ahead and from here, we'll take 1 block underneath our head like a pillow. And we're going to get ready for the hundreds. Belly pulling in, low back pressing. I'm going to lengthen the legs up. If you can easily lengthen the legs up to 90 degrees, you'll stay straight and laterally rotate. If the hamstrings are a little tighter than that and they're sort of out here, then I want you to bend the knees and keep the legs parallel. Either way, again, belly pulling in, low back pressing. Right? And we're going to go ahead and from here, hold on to the hamstrings. Come into your upper body alignment. Pull with your arm strength to pull those shoulder blades closer toward your thighs. Now exhale and deflate the abs. See them move down. Now reach the arms long. Start to pump the arms. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and low back pressing into the floor. And inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2. If you can keep your low back pressing into the floor here, then you're going to lengthen the legs a little further away for a little more challenge if you like. All right, so you work where your body feels comfortable, where you feel clear and connected, I like to say. You're about halfway there. 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3. 3 more sets, and inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3. 2 more, and inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3. 1 more, and inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause and rest. Now we should be nice and warm. Let's take a full breath in. Take a full breath out. Okay. I love the hundreds for a nice, good warm-up. All right, so let's go ahead and from here. We said today we're going to focus a little bit more on the back body. I like to include twisting with that as well. All right, so we're going to start, just do a simple couple of movements, and then we're going to elaborate on those as we go. So low back presses into the floor. Low back arches, we did that already. Low back presses. So this is essentially the beginnings of a forward fold and a backward bend. We'll also focus a little bit on the muscles that are needing to be nice and open to encourage backward bending. So that would be the quads and the shoulders. Now let's do last two like this. And one more. So simple, low back pressing, low back arching, pelvic rocks. Now legs long, arms long, hold on to two fingers of one hand with the other, flex your feet, hip walks. Make your right leg long and your left leg short, and then switch, and switch, and switch. So on this one, imagine your sacrum, that triangular bone at the base of your spine, is on a lazy Susan and could swivel, and we're hiking one hip up towards your shoulder, and then switching. So it's really the side waist that's shortening, one on either side at a time as we do this one. Let's do two more and one more. Okay, hip walks. Now, let's do L shapes with the arms, feet wide, and we'll do windshield wipers with the knees. So one at a time, legs moving from side to side. All right, so when we did the hip walks a second ago, it was essentially side bending, one side then the other. Now that we're doing these windshield wiper movements, it's a little bit of a mild twist. Let's do one more time each side. Okay, so let's go right away here into the leg spring series. Okay, so a little bit of the classic movements. We're going to go ahead and we're taking this leg spring series from the machines. You would normally do this one on the Cadillac, where your feet would be in the straps that are connected to the framework of the Cadillac. But we're going to do it today here with the low back pressing into the floor. We're keeping the body long on this one. We're going to lengthen the legs up, and we start with bicycle circles just above the waist. You can have your hands just barely under the edge of your seat, and I want you to actively press the low back into the floor. Now, the milder version is to stay above your waist, right? If we go bigger and longer and lower and slower, it's more challenging. So you choose where you feel clear and connected. That's it, guys. Good. Let's do 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Bicycles. Now legs up. We do leg circles. Legs move away and out and up and together, and away and out and up and together, away and out and up and together, and again. Now let's reverse direction, out and away, together and up. Low back pressing into the floor. Now, as your legs get farther away, like on this spot right here, that's going to be the most challenging moment. So your low back will try to lift, but we're going to keep that virtual seat belt on. Imagine you had like a virtual seat belt, and you can be having that as your security, right? Really pressing the low back into the floor. Now let's go ahead and from here, touch the heels together, bring the knees into the shoulders for frog. And as you lengthen the legs away on that angle again, squeeze the inner thighs together. So knees to shoulders and inner thigh squeeze. Knees to shoulders, inner thigh squeeze. Knees to shoulders, inner thigh squeeze. Knees to shoulders, inner thigh squeeze. Let's do 2 more like that. Nice long breaths here as we go. Good, and pause for a second. So just to kind of recap so far, and then we'll add on a little bit. We did bicycles, we did leg circles in both directions, and we did frog. Okay, the next 2 are similar in nature. We're going to do an action, and then we're going to move that action in space. First action, we're going to do walking. So you're going to flex the feet, and you're going to do the feet front and back like so, right? I learned this first as Snoopy feet, right? So when Snoopy does the little Snoopy dance, little happy dance, a little happy dance here. Now remember, low back pressing strongly into the floor, and then you're going to start to move this action away from you, down, down, down to that tough spot, and then up, 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 up. Again, here we go, down, 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 and up, up, up. Again, we go down, 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 and up, up. One more time, here we go, and down, down. Low back pressing. Only go as far away from you as you can without the low back lifting. Now the next one, another action. We open and close this time. Inner thighs working. So we go close, 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 and up, up, up. Again, we go close, 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 and up, up, up. 2 more like that, and close, 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 close. And low back pressing into the floor. Remember, only as far away as you can while keeping that connection stable. Good. Okay, next we're going to do leg circles again. I'm just going to kind of check my wingspan here. Oh, I'm not going to hit anything great. Okay, so leg circles we did already, right? So we did them smaller. I love this. The next movement in the series is called rond de jambe. It's basically leg circles, but when we say it in French, it's like just going to be much more a bigger movement. Right now, if this is not comfortable, then you don't have to do the big variation. Right, let's do 2 more this direction if you're doing this one. But it does feel nice and free and open if you feel comfortable with this one, right? So low back pressing strongly. Nice, great big round circles. Low back pressing. Let's do 2 more. Here we go. 1 more. And pause. Okay, so a little bit of leg spring series variation without the Cadillac. Right? No Cadillac required on this variation. And low back pressing into the floor the whole time. Okay, so it's a kind of a good, nice series, that leg spring series. And it's a great one to use if you want to keep your back long, right? So if you have either osteoporosis or osteopenia, or if you have disc issues. Now, disc issues, you would do a smaller movements, right? Depending on where you are in your process, in your healing process. But the great thing about this is it really keeps the back just like in place, okay? So a couple good reasons to do the leg spring series. Okay, so let's move on. We said we would do more focus on back body and twisting. So let's see. A lot of possibilities. What I want to give you is a little bit of a release for your back, and then we'll kind of move forward from there, and we'll do some strength too. Let's actually do the strength first. So what we're going to do is we're going to come onto our abdomen, and let's do the classic Pilates backward bending. We'll start with our hands stacked and our head resting on our hands. As you inhale, let the belly expand on the floor. And then exhale, I want you to engage your abdominals like you had a weight belt on and you're tightening it with your own muscles. And inhale, belly expands. And exhale, engage your abdominals. Tighten your own weight belt with your muscles from the inside, right? So that's your transverse abdominals working. I like to call that skinny middle. So keep that skinny middle engaged. Let's come up under our forearms, interlace the fingers, lengthen as long as you can through the torso, and lift your belly button up off the floor. But the tops of the thighs stay down. Now we do right heel double pulse into the buttocks and come down now, left double pulse and down. We go point, flex, down, and point, flex, down. Again, point, flex, down, and point, flex, down. Let's do again each side. 1 more, here we go. And now let's come down, turn your head to one side, hands to the small of your back, elbows fall toward the floor, belly firm, hips press, and both heels double pulse, coming in and down, again, and in, and down, 2 more, and in, and down, 1 more, and in, and now legs stay down, center the head, let's lift the upper body, go backward bend, squeeze the elbow straight. As you inhale, come up a little higher, and as you exhale, turn your head to the other side, and we repeat, coming in and down, in and down, 2 more, and in and down, 1 more, in, legs stay down, center the head. Let's come into our backward bend. Keep your gaze about a foot in front of you on the floor. Don't look directly forward. It's too much of a fold in the neck. As you inhale, come up a little higher, and then hands face the floor, lift the legs, and we swim the legs. Big breath in here. Big breath out. Big breath in. And big breath out. So normally we would do options, arms out to the sides or arms forward, but I'm going to have you keep your arms alongside the body with the palms facing the floor and see how open you can feel like you can make the chest. And let's inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Let's do just a couple more moments here. Swimming, swimming, swimming. No swim cap required. And release. Big breath in and big breath out. Now we're going to do a couple more backward bending exercises here. Keep your hands stacked, rest your forehead on the back of your hands, belly firm, and we're going to just time this for a little bit. We're going to time it with our own breath. Okay, so belly firm, hips pressing, and what we're going to do is we're going to lift one leg, but keep your hips in place, and we're going to hold it for 5 long breaths, roughly 3-second inhale, 1001, 1002, 1003, 3-second exhale, 1001. 1002, 1003. We're going to do 5 of those. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1001, 1002, 1003. We'll end up being roughly 30 seconds. 1002, 1003, but no clock required. 1002, 1003. 2 more like that. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1001, 1002. 1 more. Here we go. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1001, 1002, 1003. Come on down. Let's do the second side. So belly firm, lengthen and lift. Remember, your hips stay steady. You're not going to lift the leg and effort to go like really high and then you twist your hips. You're going to just keep those hip points grounded to the floor, and then we lift as far as you can. And inhale, 1001, 1002, 1003. Exhale, 1001, 1002, 1003. We could do 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Exhale, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Inhale, 1001, 1002, 1003. Exhale, 1001, 1002. 2 more like that. Here we go. Inhale, 1001, 1002, 1003. Exhale, 1001, 1002, 1003. Here we go again. Last one, 1001, 1002, 1003. And exhale, 1001, 1002, 1003. So we're focusing when we lift the legs with the knees straight on the lower back. Okay, now we're going to focus on the upper back, doing baby cobra. And then after that, we'll do the middle back. So I want you to imagine for a second that you had a shirt on that had 3 stripes, a big broad stripe on the lower back, a big broad stripe on the upper back, and a big broad stripe on the middle back. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and come into now baby cobra, belly firm. Let's come into baby cobra. And again, we do our 1001, 1002, 1003, 1001, 1002, 1003. Inhale. Exhale. Again, inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Remember not to look forward. Look down about a foot in front of you on the floor. Exhale. 1 more. Here we go. Inhale. Exhale. And we'll come on back down. We're going to do another round like that. So let's get ourselves ready. Hands in place. Belly firm. Okay. Come into your upper back bend. Squeeze between the shoulder blades. Visualize that stripe. 1002, 1003. Exhale, 1001, 1002, 1003. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Belly's still pulling in here. Inhale. You can visualize breathing into the lungs. Think of that as being a higher action. We have 1 more time. Here we go. Inhale. And exhale. And rest. Okay. So now we've done the lower stripe. We've done the upper stripe. Now we're going to do the middle stripe. So the middle stripe, we're going to do an exercise I like to call the Schiffman special. So I got this one from one of my favorite yoga teachers in California, Eric Schiffman. Thank you, Eric, for this exercise. So the Schiffman special, we're basically going to come into baby cobra. Then we're going to lift the legs. And then we're going to come into big cobra, but not too high. The whole purpose is so that we address those muscles in the middle back. Okay, so we're going to bring the hands in line with the center of the chest. Inhale, baby cobra. Feel those muscles between the shoulder blades. Now exhale, legs lift. Focus on the lower back. Inhale here. Now bring the hands down. Exhale, you're going to come up into big cobra, but not too high. Elbows squeezing in tight. As you inhale now, I want you to feel the breastbone reaching forward. Think of like the light on the front of a train shining forward. And then come on back down. We're going to do it 3 more times. Belly firm first. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, legs lift. Inhale here. Exhale, big cobra. Inhale, breastbone reaches forward. Feel those middle back muscles working, middle stripe. And come down. You can turn your head to the other side. Belly firm. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, legs lift. Inhale here. Exhale, big cobra. Inhale here. Breastbone reaches forward. Exhale, come down. 1 more time. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, legs lift. Inhale here. Exhale, big cobra. Inhale here. And exhale, come back down. Let's stack the hands. And we're going to bend the knees and windshield wiper the shin bones from side to side. So a little mild twist. Big breath in again. Big breath out. And 1 more big breath in. And big breath out. Good. Okay, so we did that little twist to kind of neutralize after our backward bend. Now we'll come into child's pose. Let's actually do extended child's pose. So we'll widen the knees, bring the feet together. You're going to reach the arms long and stretch long through the spine. So reach long, long, long. And then reach over to the side. We're going to sink into the curve that's happening right now. I have my left hand pressing into the floor, and I'm going to lean into that curve that's happening on the left side of the body. Nice lat stretch there. And then we come center and over to the other side, and then sink into the curve that's happening in the right side of the body. Big breath in, big breath out. Again, a big breath in, and big breath. Okay, now we have a blanket handy, and what we're going to do is now I'm going to have you fold your mat back about halfway or so, and we're going to have the blanket on the floor and our body on the mat, and we're going to basically make sort of a makeshift reformer. And if there's an exercise where you're pressing out and pulling in, on the reformer, you're on a platform that's moving, right? So we've just changed the moving platform to our feet. And we're going to do gliding bridge. Okay, so this is going to be back body focus for strength. So belly firm. I want you to imagine that core set, your transverse abdominals really working strongly here. You can also engage the pelvic floor, okay? So pelvic floor, right? Diamond-shaped group of muscles between the sitting bones, the pubic bone, and the tailbone at the base of the torso, pulling in and up towards your head. Pelvic floor engaged, transverse abdominals, skinny middle engaged, and long spine. So think of that Pilates body, active, energized body. I like to think of like superhero, dun, dun, dun. Like it was kind of like a superhero is like active and on the ready. So that's our Pilates body. So we're going to keep that and keep grounded into the floor, right? Belly firm especially, and press the heels into that blanket. So your knees are directed straight up. You're going to keep it that way. As you push the heels down, I'm going to have you now lengthen the legs. Lengthen, 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 lengthen. Okay, keep the torso in place. Fold at the hip crease and push the heels down as you drag that blanket in. Drag it in, drag it in, drag it in. You get a little floor polishing happening all at once, right? So we're double duty, cleaning the floor and working our body. So heels pressed, and let's come back in. That's it, guys. Good. So belly stays firm on this one. So this is a little more mild, right? We're going to work where you feel clear and connected. Right, so you should feel on this one right now, the back of the thighs, the hamstrings firing, right? I'm going to introduce you guys to Bob. This is Bob over here. Hi, Bob. Right, so I want to just every once in a while check in and say, what do you think, Bob, right? Yeah, okay, yeah, he agrees. Okay, great. So heels pressing, lengthen your legs out, and then drawing back in. So Bob's full name is actually Cowboy Bob. He's a little bit bow-legged, so the femur bones should actually be hanging a little bit more on an angle toward the middle, and they don't for him. So I think he's been riding a horse in another lifetime. Okay, so now let's go ahead from here. Belly pull in. You're going to lift the hips up high. Work your skinny middle really specifically here, and slowly, slowly, slowly lengthen out. Now, the soles of your feet are not on the blanket, just your heels, and lengthen all the way down. Okay, so that's a little more challenge. Right, heels push into the floor. I want you to come back the way we did on the first version, okay? So version A is torso down, legs out, legs in, right? Version B is torso lifts, legs out, torso down, legs in. And you're pushing down the whole time. You should really feel those hamstrings work. When we come into our bridge, your back body is working too. Lengthening all the way out. And then dragging back in. That's it, guys. Good. Lift up, lengthen out. Now, if this is too much, right, then you just do version A, and you're working on the same, building up toward a bigger version of the same exercise. So it's all good. Right, Bob? Yes. All right, so now, you guessed it, version C. There is a version C. There's an A, a B, and a C. I'm remembering my brother-in-law, Al. Love you, Al. Mwah. I remember one time he taught me this phrase. It had to do with A, B, and C. He said, this is an A and B. I think there was someone butting in or something like that. He said, this is an A and B conversation. And then to the third person, why don't you see your way out of it? So I don't know where that's coming right now to me, the A, B, and C. So let's go ahead and introduce this version C. Anyway, we said we would. Right? What we're going to do for version C is I'm going to give you a mild variation, and then you can choose to do what feels comfortable. So you guessed it, we lengthen out and we lengthen in with the torso up, right, instead of coming down in between, right? So what I'm going to do is have you lengthen out just a little bit, and then while you're not too far away, bring those heels back in and keep your hips lifted. Now this is super challenging for those hamstrings. A lot of times what I get is a lot of people cramping up right here because it's really hard, okay? It's not easy, this one. Now, if you want, you can come out further, right? And then you can come back up, and you're really going to feel a lot of work for those hamstrings. They're going to start to cramp up, and you can kind of, if that happens, you just pause, lengthen the leg, maybe get up and walk around a little bit, and that's okay. Right? So we don't have to push too much unless you need it, right? You need more work. You need more. You've worked a good amount of time with A and B. Then you bring that C right into the conversation, and it's all good. We can all talk together, and we're all in agreement that we're building strength. Okay. So that's a couple of kind of movements in that gliding bridge that are going to help us build some strength. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come to our blocks, and we're going to do a little stretch with the blocks. You can use, again, if you don't have 2 yoga blocks, you can use a chair with no arms and no wheels. Okay, that's really important. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and stack those blocks up. And we're going to have a seat on those blocks. Okay, so basically you're just sitting, okay? Now, rock side to side for a second. Get a sense for your sitting bones, okay? And so those sitting bones, those 2 little bony landmarks that you can feel when you're sitting like on a harder surface, right? Those are basically, at the base of the pelvis. And what we're going to do is now we're going to slide over to one side. So we're going to slide over. I'm sliding over to my left. Okay, and I'm going to have my feet a little wide. I'm going to have my hands on my shin bones. And now my left sitting bone is free to drop down. And I'm going into that side bend like we did earlier, right? So now I'm going to let that sitting bone drop down. And then hike the hip way, way up. And then lower down. And hike, squeeze those muscles up. And lower down. Come up and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And lower down. And come up and squeeze, 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 squeeze. And lower it down. Nice side bend. Make sure you feel stable. If you're on a chair, you can hold on to the edge of that, the outer edge of the other side of the chair. Okay, now let's give it one more good squeeze up. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Okay, now lower down. Okay, you're going to bring your fingertips to the floor or the edge of the chair and go into a direct side bend with that sitting bone dropping down and then arm reaching over. Oh, doesn't that feel good? Right, big breath in. Big breath out. And again, big breath in and big breath out. Now, imagine for a second that your toes are touching an invisible wall. I want you to take that top hand, keep it the same height, and reach your top hand toward that same wall. Touch that invisible wall with your hand. And it's going to bring your body a little bit on in a little bit of rotation. Your collarbones will sort of face the floor a little bit. And what you're going to feel when you do that movement is a nice stretch in a muscle called the quadratus lumborum, your QL. It's kind of a big muscle in your low back. Right now I'm getting a stretch for the QL on my left side. And oh, does it feel good? Now let's gently release. Come back to the center. Okay, and I'm going to do something that a colleague of mine, Sue Hitzman, does all the time, and I love that she does this, is do one side and just see how it feels. It's like checking in. Right, so Sue, I love Sue. She does melt. So if you haven't already checked out the melt method, just awesome. And Sue's been a great inspiration. So thank you, Sue. But just kind of checking in like Sue does, right? That what does one side feel like and what does the other side feel like? Now, normally you would do a check-in before you do the first side too, but we're just going to do it in between for a second. And if you close your eyes, you really can feel a difference. And then once we do the second side, we'll come back and we'll check in again, and you're going to feel that second side sort of has caught up, right? So we bring our awareness to like what is really happening in our bodies, and we just keep checking in. So let's slide over to the other side. Again, make sure you're stable. It might feel, whoa, like you're going to fall over, but feet wider helps. Holding onto the shin bones helps. And don't go, of course, don't go over too far. Now, sitting bone drops down. Oh, there's that nice head bend. And then hike that hip way, way up. And sitting bone down. And hike way, way up. And again, sitting bone down. And hike up. Okay, so stretching and then working those muscles a little bit. Just let the breath be free and easy here. Now let's drop it. Let's do one more hike. Here we go. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Now lower it down, fingertips touch, and direct side bend. Big breath in, big breath out. Big breath in, big breath out. And again, big breath in, and big breath out. Now, toes are touching an invisible wall. Top hand reaches around. Fingertips touch that wall. Big breath in, and big breath out. Breathing in our stretch. We're talking about invisible walls. It reminds me when my little one was tiny. They had an invisible friend. It was an invisible flying grasshopper named Edia. And so Edia was a friend of ours for a little while. And every once in a while, some kind of random thing would happen around the house. And, Edia might have had something to do with it. I remember one time the remote went missing for months, and I think we found it in my little one's closet. And I think Edia had something to do with that. One time my oldest decided they would freeze Edia. So they took a container and filled it with water and said, "I'm freezing Edia." He was like over Edia's antics, and so he put him in the container in the freezer and froze Edia. My little one was so upset. But I think Edia made it even after the frost. So so just, I guess we all need things to help us through certain situations and certain times. And whatever's helpful, right? If it's helping us out, it's all good. So an invisible wall is a good tool, an invisible friend sometimes. We'll just do what is helpful. Okay, we're gonna do one last thing here. We're gonna do an exercise called saw. Okay, and we're gonna engage, we're gonna kind of feel our opening for our quadratus lumborum. Now, depending on how your hamstrings feel, you might, if they're a little tighter, you might choose to be up on a little bit of a prop, not too high. You can have the feet wide. If your hamstrings are tight, you're gonna have your knees bent so your low back can start off in a lifted place. If you're flexible, you come down and you'll have your low back be able to be lifted there. And we're gonna just start with the arms wide, and we're gonna reach your left arm over to the outside edge. You're gonna connect the edge of your hand to the outer edge of your leg. And in a sawing action, you're gonna keep the belly pulling in as you kind of reach over. It's like you're reaching up and over as you do the sawing action down the leg. So your belly pulls in here so that you get that same stretch for your quadratus lumborum. Let's come up and then center. So inhale, rotate. Exhale, connect, round and reach. And upright and center. So remember, as you connect, if you're flexible, you're not just flopping over that leg. You're actually pulling in and around over so that you get that stretch for your QL. Now, because we just did that action on the block, you're going to feel that same place, right? So we made a connection to our QL, and now we're giving our QL a little more TLC. Feels good. As we do saw, right? Inhale, rotate. Exhale, round and reach. Inhale, lift and center. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, round and reach. Inhale, lift. Let's do one more time. Each side, I think we've got to start on the left arm moving so we're even. And then last one, here we go. And there. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and finish there for today. Thanks so much, you guys. I hope this is helpful for your low back. I'm going to go ahead and finish there for today. Thanks so much, you guys. I hope this is helpful for your low back, your back body in general, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Mwah. Thanks, guys.